And this is your host Syed Irfan Ajmal, and today I am here with the first episode of the third season of the SIA Business Podcast. So, welcome to the show. In this episode, I would like to start with um, addressing something which is, I guess, much more important than some of the plans that I have had before the entire coronavirus pandemic. So I'm not obviously a doctor or something like that, and I guess you already know the health precautions. Plus, this is not a podcast about health, right? And this is why I want to speak about um, how we are working on preparing our team and our company to be ready for any sort of potential negative economic effects of the coronavirus pandemic. So I hope that you stay and learn a few things from what we are trying to do and what we are planning to do. And it's not about getting panicked or something. It's just about learning from the history. So obviously there was the 2007 economic crash, 2007 2008, and in the start, a lot of the experts thought that okay, this is not a massive issue like when all that housing bubble or whatever it was when it started, right? um, so again, I'm not an economist, and I'm not going to share a lot of I'm not going to share even any sort of numbers or statistics. But I did do some study here and there, and I also interacted with some of our clients from UAE and the US. And I can also see some of the changes that they are either implementing, or they are considering to implement if things get worse. So I thought, okay, it is necessary to be proactive rather than reactive, and have more clarity on where our focus is going to be, and what we can do, and how we are going to do it, and sort of what should be the priority of tasks and whatnot, right? Because when you do have a plan in place, then even if things get worse, then you are more prepared, and then you will make, I guess, fewer mistakes, and because you will not be too panicked or something, right? So first things first, we have always been a remote first company. So we do have an office, a physical office, but we have always been a remote first company, and we have team members who are not in the city that I'm based in, who are working remotely from different cities and countries. They have always been working remotely, and because I also have a home office already, which I currently am at. So the transition, if you want to call that, was not too hard for us. um, it was not too much of a problem for us. So our plan for the corona recession is that our first priority obviously is client work. So what we do for our clients is link outreach. We also do content creation, like power pages, which is like in-depth guides, which are created as these evergreen content pieces, and the aim here is to earn backlinks for those power pages. Then we also do some infographics, both the content and design, and what we are now sort of expanding into is publicity outreach. So that will continue as usual. We do have some clients who have either reduced budget, or who are considering to reduce budget. So in case you don't know, we our primary and sort of main business is an agency, DMR, or digital marketing ROI. So when I talk about client work, I'm talking primarily about the agency, right? So we plan to continue that, and it is possible that we will have to make some changes there, and it is possible that there might be some surprises and shocks, because obviously there are a lot of companies which have to rethink their spending and their strategy and whatnot, at least for this year, it seems. So let's see how this goes, but we are positive that we will be able to continue with this. Obviously, having said that, we do have to make some cost cutting measures, and even if we don't go ahead with some cost cutting, I mean, in terms of tools, we do have to make some cost cutting because we have been spending a lot in terms of different content marketing and SEO tools like Ahrefs and Power Tools and Mailshake and a lot of others. So right now, given that some clients have changed their strategy or they want to change, it means that we have to allocate some of our team members to some of the other things that we are going to do, which I'll be mentioning in the next sort of in the next part of this episode. So we will have, there are, like, when you look in detail, there are a lot of opportunities for us to do away with any sort of unused tools. In terms of team, we have 8 team members, 8 core team members, including myself, and we are extremely keen to not let anyone go, obviously, and we are still not sure if we have to reduce the hours of any of these team members, but I don't think that will be necessary anyways. And so far, we are doing okay in terms of all the team members putting in the effort and whatnot. There have been a few issues here and there, but we do understand that everyone is kind of worried or something, or they have families at home, their kids are home, and but like my sort of motivation and my what gives me the passion as the founder of this marketing agency is to remember always that it's not just about me or myself, but the team that we have, and the fact that this agency, this business, is responsible for the livelihood of these team members, and in some cases even their families. So we have one team member who has multiple siblings that she takes care of financially. She has, I believe, her ailing mother that she takes care of. There is another team member who is at least a little bit worried that her husband might it is possible. It is still a very unlikely fear, but that fear is still in her mind, as she told me that her husband might not have a job, let's say after a month or whatever, right? And I hope it doesn't come to that, but she is obviously a very valuable team member, and she's someone that we depend a lot on for all the variety of tasks that we throw at her or burden her with, but she has never seen that as a burden, and she has been very positive and everything. So I just told her that if things come to the worst, obviously you don't have to worry about your job here. We value your contribution, and we would never want to let you go, obviously, right? So I mean that. So my point is that in terms of cost cutting, our focus is more on like the different tools that we use and different services that we pay for and whatnot, right? Rather than letting someone from our team be let go. Since work seems to be getting a bit slower from the client side, we do have some time to invest in our processes. So as I have mentioned in some of my previous videos, and I will also be sharing in one of the upcoming videos of this series, we have been using the EOS, or Entrepreneurial Operating System methodology, which was popularized by Gino Wickman, in his book traction. So Gino Wickman had basically talked about how to ensure, as a company's founder or as a company's senior member, to make sure that you are working on the business, rather than in the business all the time. So it's kind of like making sure that you have more sort of automation in place, you have more delegation in place, where you are assigning and delegating tasks. And one of the six important components with regards to making all of that sure is the processes component, right? Where you make sure that, okay, you have clear processes for different key departments of your business. So in terms of the services that we provide, we have Harrow Outreach, where we answer journalist queries. Then we have what we call SAOR, or semi-automated outreach process. So there is a lot of tasks that we have to do there, and there is we already have a Harrow Outreach manual in place, and we already have the semi-automated outreach manual in place. The Harrow one is actually really good. We have trained multiple team members who have been able to use that and get mentions and backlinks for our clients from publications like Forbes and Canva and Guardian and a lot of all these high authority publications. But it still needs some modification and some changes and some review, because we have heard some feedback from some of our newer team members that, okay, maybe you can change this, or maybe there is something that's getting repeated too much, and maybe you should take that out, and that maybe you should make it a bit more brief or something, right? So we have to work on that. The semi-automated outreach process, we this manual needs a lot of work. There is a lot that has changed, and that there is a lot that we have to improve. There is a lot of ways that we have to sort of create multiple versions for it. One focused on infographic outreach, another focused on guest posts, and so on. Then we also have to sort of put things in place, like making sure that data from one Google Sheet is getting synced with another Google Sheet automatically, rather than one VA or one person having to manually copy paste all the data. And we also know that there is some room for integrating Zapier with Google Sheets and Mailchimp, so that our system and process is much more faster. We also want to look more into publicity outreach, and it's something that I myself and one of our more senior team members will be doing ourselves initially, at least the two of us, because we are a boutique agency. Like I said, we have just like 8 team members, including myself. So and also when we the senior members have implemented something on our own, then it makes it much more easier for us to come up with a process for that, and then train our more junior team members who may not have done anything like that previously. So remember when I mentioned the EOS methodology, so one other component of it is the data component, and we have been following that. We have like weekly meetings where we analyze, okay, how many pitches did we send, how many positive responses did we receive, how many backlinks have we earned, and so on. So every team member know like where do they stand in terms of their conversion rate, right, in comparison to other team members, and also in comparison to their own previous score. So we think that helps us as a team to have some numbers and focus on those numbers. So remember, like something like profit and loss, that comes much later, right? Like after a month or after a quarter. But these numbers are for like our day-to-day work. Like, okay, how many pitches did you send today, and how many responses were positive, and how many mentions or backlinks did you earn. But we have to make some improvements to that P2L score, we believe, and we have been meaning to do that for quite some time. For instance, we want to reward if a person is, let's say, earning more higher authority backlinks. So let's say if a team member, like just yesterday, I saw that one of our team members have earned a backlink from a very decent website which has a DR or domain rating of 90 out of 100, right? So and she's a very new team member, and that was just amazing. So not all links are equal. Some links are more valuable than others, right? Then there is, other than the DR or the entire domains rating, there is your UR score as well, as in the URL rating. And obviously, if you get a link from a higher UR website, then that's more valuable than a UR0 a web page, right? So we there is a lot that we have to improve there as well. Then there is like, we want to also reward how much time these team members are taking to get these backlinks. So if you are spending 5 hours on a page, then that's a bit of a problem, especially if you are not a new team member, right? Even the very new team members of our team, I think the worst that I saw someone doing was like 3 hours, taking 3 hours to answer a Harrow pitch. So, but then again, like if someone is, let's say, taking just 5 minutes to answer a Harrow query, then that's also not good. So we have to like sort of find a balance, and we have to kind of sort of quantify that to figure out, okay, how can we encourage and quantify and reward the right behavior when it comes to doing outreach. Then there is also the open rate and the click through rate and whatnot. Like how many times is your email getting opened, even if you have not earned a backlink yet. And if you have added a backlink to a client's web page or something, is that link getting clicked, right? Is that link getting clicked, right? So there is a lot of such data. Then obviously we have our Hubstaff data. So remember I mentioned that we use Hubstaff. Remember that I said earlier that we are a remote first company. So our agency has been in operation since 2013, and we have been using Hubstaff every single day, every team member of ours, including myself, to track our time, right? And you can see that right now SIA Podcast is the project that I have selected, right? And I'm working on that, right? So we use that to track our time. I think that makes us more focused, more organized, more productive, and even more honest. Like if I have my Hubstaff time on, I will not be like getting sucked into social media or just like wasting time on some sort of like my cell phone or something, right? In fact, my cell phone is turned on like most of the time anyways, but you see my point, right? Then we also have to integrate Hubstaff to Trello and QuickBooks. We have sort of tried to do that previously, but sometimes there is a technical issue, and then of course we have to build our habits of using these tools. In terms of QuickBooks, there is some sort of like setup things that we have to do. For instance, I guess one of the things that if I can recall correctly, is that we have to ensure that if we have A, B, and C as our projects in Hubstaff, then we have to sort of manually create the same projects in QuickBooks, and then we have to sync that. And same is the case with, I think, members as well. So I've not been able to do that. I had assigned that to our bookkeeper, but he was also not very he could not really understand how to do that, I guess. And then he got busy, and we have to find actually a new bookkeeper as well, because we do want to organize all our data within QuickBooks, which was previously in Wave apps. And to be honest, it was also not all of it was in Wave apps. Some of it was also in different Google Sheets and whatnot. And if we still get time from doing these tasks, like I said, client work, but obviously if there is not a lot of client work, then we have more free time, right? So we will be focusing on some cost cutting at least. Then we have to focus on our processes, improving our processes, refining our processes and whatnot, our data, so we can measure performance and reward the right behavior and whatnot in a more improved way. And then there comes training. So we have purchased a good few premium courses related to SEO and content marketing previously, and even digital PR. But we have not done a good job of following those courses and really studying them and really implementing them. So we want to focus on that as well, hopefully, and then we also want to implement the learnings that we learn from there in our own blogs, some of our own sort of call them digital assets, right? And even potentially our clients' websites as well, where it makes sense, obviously. Then this may be a good time, considering how all of this coronavirus thing goes. This may be a good time to look into purchasing niche websites, because there are a lot of people who will be selling these websites and even expired domains, and they'll be doing that at a much lower price. So this may be a good time to put some of our savings into good use. I mean, we don't have massive savings in or something like that, but we do know that we can invest in some of these niche websites and expired domains. Then you guys may have noticed, if you have been listening so far, that I mentioned our team and our business, but I didn't kind of like really uttered the name of our company and whatnot too much or too explicitly. So the problem has been that I used to have a partnership with a British marketer, and we basically decided to part ways, and we are still on good terms. He's a really honest and good person, but we decided to part ways, and since then we have been so busy with our client work that we never got the time to have a proper web presence. We have been kind of using my website, SIA.com, even though our agency's name was and is Digital Marketing ROI. So we need to sort of push that this name, the DMR, much further. So this is our sort of companies, our parent companies, SIA Enterprises, and SIA. The vision is that these words SIA stand for apart from my name, Saeed Irfan Ajmal, the bigger picture is that they stand for the words spotlight, influence, and authority. So in what we are doing as an agency is focusing on earned media and specifically SEO and outreach and backlinking, and we think that these words spotlight, influence, and authority kind of sum up our vision and our passion. Now under the parent company SIA Enterprises, which we use to which is a tax-paying entity, and when we are paying our taxes, that's the name that we use. But under that agency, we have two. So under that company, parent company SIA Enterprises, we have two different subsidiaries. One is DMR.agency, and we want to have that website for its setup as quickly as possible. We do have a older website, but we want to change things a lot for some of the reasons that I did mention with regards to the partnership being dissolved, and then there are some other reasons as well. But other than that, we also have our blog at sayeedirfanajmal.com. So this is envisioned more to not services clients, but people who will see the value in the content that we are sharing, and then in due time, when we have some digital tools to offer, whether it's a an ebook, a course, a SaaS tool, then they would be interested in that because of all the value we have previously provided for free, right? So, but those plans are kind of on a lower priority. But in terms of improvements, when I mentioned the training and whatnot and the implementation of what we learn at our blog, so we do want to implement that at the DMR website, and obviously the SIA blog, or the sayeedirfanajmal.com website as we call it. We also think, because we have had hired a few new people in the past few months, and we expanded our team. So we do feel the need to have a more clear and a more updated HR policy, and I may have to work with an external HR consultant on that, to have a more clear policy, because I think that it's important for our team members. We spend a lot of time together each day, via Slack and via Zoom and whatnot. So it's important for us that they know the all the sort of policy points, and how we envision rewarding them and training them and guiding them and supporting them. And we also want to make sure that they know the rules as well, on what is expected of them as well, because without their support, fighting with something like a recession, or even if there is no corona recession, even if it's all things as business as normal, even then we will need their support, so that we can be we can provide a good service to our clients, as we have done in the past. So we do have some concerns on that, and we do want to work a lot on that as well. So this is our plan. Like I said, we will continue to work the client work. Obviously, where it permits, we will try to cut costs by focusing on tools first. We would really hate to let anyone go, because we have invested a lot in them, and they have helped us a lot as well. And we want to keep going. We want to go through what may probably become a tough situation. So we want to be very careful and very proactive about it, and very careful about everything that we do. We want to work on our processes, like I said. We want to focus on our data, so that we have more clear data. We want to invest in training. We may buy some new niche websites. We want to improve and overhaul and relaunch our agency website, DMR. And we want to make some improvements to our blog, both in terms of content and design, and even on-site SEO and whatnot. And of course, like I said, the last point being that we have to improve our HR policy as well. Maybe I will actually move this much above the few of the other things. It might come right after processes and data, or even before processes, right? So this is what our plan is, and I would love to know what you guys think about our plan, and if you have any feedback, and let me know if you have any questions, or if there is anything that you have planned for your business, in terms of how to be prepared for a potential corona recession. What are you going to do in terms of client retention and motivating your team, and making the most of this time that we seem to be spending at our homes. Obviously, the hope is that we won't have to spend a lot of time at home, and that we'll be back to our offices and whatnot. But it's still too important to have this plan. Even when you are back to office, you might be experiencing the ripple effects of the coronavirus, right? So it's important to be prepared. And I really think that like to be honest, like for me, creating this sort of rough plan, it really made me much more motivated, and much more focused. I am now less focused on following news, and more focused on these items that I have to do, because firstly I have to, like I said, I have to make sure that we are taking care of our team. And of course, if we are taking care of our team, and we are keeping them happy and fulfilled and whatnot, then of course we can do good work for our clients as well. So this is it. And yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you so much. Bye.